Hi. Have you ever received an invitation to something, maybe a special evening out, or perhaps you're going to be the mother of the bride and you think to yourself, wow, I really want to look amazing at that. My name's Tricia and I'm founder and MD of Look Fabulous Forever, which is makeup designed specifically with older women in mind. And this video is going to show you how to up your game so that if you have a special occasion like that, you can pull out all the stops and look really fabulous. Our model for this video is Jerry. She's going to be our mother of the bride. Jerry and I have known each other, well, practically all our lives, and I'm really thrilled that she's come along to do this video with us today. And Linda, who's going to be our makeup artist again, and she's going to show you just how spectacular Jerry can look at her wedding when the time comes. So for special occasions, I urge you to take time and trouble. Please don't do this in a rush. Don't climb out of the shower with your face all hot and think, now I'll slap my makeup on and I'll be ready in about 10 minutes. It really won't work. So the way we're going to start is with primers. Primers are essential if you want your makeup to last any length of time. And we're going to assume that Jerry wants her makeup to last all day, into the evening, and to look good until, well, who knows, midnight? So first of all, smooth the fabulous prime over the face and allow it to dry. While it's drying, you put the other two primers on. So first of all, the lid prime. What this will do is not only will it take any discoloration out of the eyelid, it will also ensure that everything that Linda then puts on top stays put and looks good. So using the sponge applicator, you just apply it with your fingers. You put it on with the sponge applicator and then apply it with your fingers, just smoothing it in. Let it dry. And now Linda's going to use the lip prime. This is put on the outer edges of the lips in order to seal the lipstick when you eventually apply it. As we get older, the problem that we have with our lips is that the lipstick, the lip colour, feathers and bleeds into the outer edges. This stops it happening. So if you want your lips to look pretty and your lipstick to stay put, then use the lip prime. Now Linda's going to apply the fabulous base. She's going to put it on with a brush, which is brush 3. And she's not going to put it on more heavily than she would normally. You might think, right, I've got to make this last all day. I'll slap really lots and lots on. Now that's going to look hideous. You want to put the same amount that you would normally put it on really carefully, blend it well, buff it into the skin. And then when you've done that, have a long, hard look in the mirror, check it, and just see if there are any areas that you think need a little bit of extra help. You can always build the layers up in those parts that need it. But as I said, don't think, oh, I'll just put more on than I normally do. So you can see here that Linda is just putting the base on all over the face, right up to the hairline, but making sure that it's blended and it's smooth. Another important thing to remember when you're preparing for something like a wedding or a special occasion is not to use any products with lots of SPF. This results in flashback in photographs and it doesn't look attractive. You can see also that Linda's put a little bit on Jerry's ears. If you're wearing your hair up, think about putting a little bit of foundation on your ears so that they match your face. Perfect. So we've started the process of evening out Jerry's skin tone, which is a very important part of looking good when you're older. And she's going to continue that process now using the concealer. Fabulous Conceal is a richly pigmented cream, which is denser than the base but matches the base. And using brush 4, she's just putting it onto the skin and patting it in and covering up any areas where Jerry needs a little bit of extra help. All of this is going to help your makeup to look better for longer. The inner corner of the eye, that's a good area to put concealer. This is an area as we get older that often can look quite blue. Outer corner of the eye. And around the nose. So you can see that the effect so far has just been to even the skin tone and make Jerry's face look perfect in the sense of no blemishes, no age spots, not that Jerry's got many age spots of course, and we're ready now to do something to Jerry's brows. Using the brow shape, light feathery strokes. And because Jerry's got dark hair, she needs to make sure that her brows completely balance the colour of her hair. Our brows are naturally thicker in the inner corner, so it's important that they're thicker there and then taper down to a fine point at the end. I think you'll agree that the brows now look lovely. They frame Jerry's face and give definition to her eyes as well. Just brush it in with the brow brush, which is number 6. It's a lovely effect. What Linda's going to do now is she's going to use our brush number 1, and this is a trick for helping to make your face look attractive and to shape it. So she's contouring. As you can see, what Linda is doing there is with a shape around the cheekbones onto the brow bone, top of the brow bone, and along the jawline. Now this looks particularly good in photographs because you're giving a slightly darker shade in those areas, which slims the face and makes the jaw better defined. Now she's going to use blush, so a lovely rosy glow pinky blush, which she's putting in an arc of colour on the top of the cheekbones and all the way up, level with her eyes at the side. I love the moment when you apply the blush because it really does make so much difference to how the face looks. Now we're going to do some highlighting using Fabulous Light. Linda's just going to apply this at the top of the cheekbones, above the blush. And with the contouring that we've done with the bronzer, this again adds shape to the face and will ensure that in any photographs that Jerry appears in, that her face will look beautiful. So onto the brow bones, top of the cheekbones. Just underneath the eyes, not too close to the lashes, but just underneath the eyes. This is also a form of concealer, But it really is magic stuff. Fabulous light. Makes a huge difference to the way that the face looks at the end. And what it also does, because you put it all the way round the eyes, is that when you've applied your eye makeup, it looks spectacular. Still using the fabulous light, you can put a stripe down the middle of the nose. This sounds a bit strange, but again, it's a way of making the nose look thinner and prettier. So, onto the eyes. We've done the lid prime. And now what we're going to do is, using the Silver Mist lid colour and using the sponge applicator, Linda is just putting it onto Jerry's eyelids. This is a very soft, delicate, pretty colour. And it's also a smoother. So what it does is it smooths out the eyelid. And because you've got the prime underneath, it will ensure that there's no creasing and no way that the colour will go into any lines that you have on your eyelids. Right, the next thing that's going to be used is brush 7 and fabulous shade in the taupe colour. So Linda's going to use this as both an arc of colour and also on the outer edges of Jerry's eyes to make them look bigger. Where you want to put it is slightly above the socket, following the natural line of the eyebrows. So you can see the effect there. So using another brush, just blend it in thoroughly, a clean brush. Using circular motions and making sure there are absolutely no hard edges. Now Linda's going to use brush 5 and fabulous shade charcoal. And this time she's just going to push that into the base of Jerry's eyelashes. And the effect of that is to thicken them and make them look more luscious. A little bit under the eye on the outer corner. Nothing too heavy under the eye. I think as we get older, if we have a hard black line around our eyes, not only is it aging, it also makes our eyes look smaller. So if you've got into the habit of doing that, please stop. You want a much, much more subtle effect, and you get that if you use the shadow and a small brush. Alright, so we're going to take the foundation brush again and just get rid of any little particles that might have dropped down onto the top of Jerry's cheeks. So final effect on the eyes is to add mascara. A little bit on the bottom lashes, not too much. But I always think if you put some mascara on the bottom lashes as well as the top lashes, it makes your eyes look bigger and more open when you've finished. Be careful of using any mascaras that have heavy filaments or anything like that in them, because you end up with a kind of spidery effect, which isn't very pretty. You can put 1 or 2 coats of mascara on if you want to. So put 1 coat on, let it dry, and put a 2nd coat on. Right, so I hope you'll agree that Jerry's eyes now look really lovely. So does her skin. And with that beautiful blush that she's got on her cheeks, she looks fresh and pretty. And the final touch is going to be her lip colour. We've got the lip prime on already, and that's nice and dry now, so that's sealed the edges of her lips. And Linda's just using a lip liner to give a nice sharp definition to the outer edges of the lips. Make sure that you choose a colour that's the same colour as the natural shade of your lips. You do not want a hard line to be left if your lip colour wears off during the day, and this will ensure that that won't happen. Once you've applied it to the outer edges of the lips, you actually put it then all over the lips. Like that. So that is actually liner, not lipstick, but it's just made a lovely definition to Jerry's mouth. So the lipstick next. This is our Wow lipstick, if you want to look amazing for an evening out, and would be wonderful at a wedding. And because of Jerry's colouring, we've chosen our most vibrant lip colour, which is cherry red. And if you are getting yourself ready for a special occasion, I absolutely beg you to use a brush to apply your lip colour. You'll get a much more professional finish, and it will just look gorgeous. It will also last longer if you've applied it with a brush. So using quite light strokes, build the colour up to a level of intensity that you're comfortable with. You'll find our lipsticks are nice and creamy, and they do last well. But of course during the day you are going to need to touch your lipstick up from time to time. That looks absolutely gorgeous. I think the bride's going to be extremely proud of her mum, looking so gorgeous. So the last thing to do is just to set the whole thing with some translucent powder, and you can see that Linda is only applying this on the centre of the forehead, down the nose and onto the chin, areas which you want to be matte when the photographs are taken. Now lastly, if you want to, you can set the whole thing with something called model in a bottle. This you spray on with your eyes closed, so somebody else needs to do it for you. You count to 20 seconds. And as soon as you feel that your lashes are dry, you can open your eyes, and it will give you a beautiful satin finish and really ensure that you look fabulous all day on into the evening until late at night.